G'day, crazy comprehenders. Just back from basketball. It is 10 past 10 at night. Just sitting here with Charlie and thinking about, well, what you're about to do. So, we've just finished our book. Where is it? The Haven. So I want you to write a book review on that. So I'll go through the questions. I think you stop after each question and can either type or write it in your books, your literacy books, or type it in a Word document called the Haven Book Review. And yeah, so I'll go through a section like storyline and talk about that, and then pause, and then do your writing piece for that, and then go on to the next part. All right, so book review questions. Write a review of the class novel, The Haven, following the headings, using questions to help you plan. I'll probably use this video for other books as well, but we can use Haven as our first example, and then later on in the year you can kind of use these questions to write another review about the books you read. So, storyline. Alright, so did the story have a good beginning? Looking at this, thinking about the beginning, we had a prologue, which was that phone call from Matty Sykes to, now we know, Dodge, about them taking care of. Then it goes into chapter 1, which was about Ollie and Nancy being kidnapped. So do you think that was a good way to start the story? My own opinion, I think it was fairly good. Got into the action pretty early, which I enjoyed. So was this story believable? So is it something that could happen in real life, I guess? It's asking if it's believable. Was there a lot of action? Up to you. I'd give examples to these as well. So yes, if you think there was, for example, you could say the end with the plane crash, or the building on fire, or there's quite a bit in there that you could use as an example. What was the most exciting part in the book? So there were quite a few. Were you happy with the ending? Well, that's up to you. Did you like how it ended, or do you think it should have ended differently? If you think it should have ended differently, maybe you could write that as well, and use that as kind of an example. So it says, use examples and quotes from the novel to make points when answering these questions. So have a go at that. I think I'd want you to at least answer 3 of those questions, if not 4 or 5, so all of them. All right, pause now and good luck. Okay, so the next part is setting. So when and where is your novel set? So if we think about The Haven, I would say it's fairly current age. I think some people mentioned kind of in the future, some said slightly in the past. As long as you say why you think that would be good. And, well, we narrowed it down. There was the tube, which was the railway, the trains and things. So we kind of figured out it was kind of London, didn't we? So that's one answer for you. Was there anything unusual or different about the book? It's up to you. I think there was a few things in there. Were the descriptions, phrases used good? It's not a very good sentence, but how did you like the phrasing and the descriptions in there? So there's quite a few in there, and quite a few similes. There's also quite a few references to, like, Lord of the Rings, and there's a few others. Charlie's barking. A few others in there as well, so pop culture references. But also they used some kind of unfamiliar words and had fairly high vocabulary as well. So did you like that about the book? Could you visualize the story in your mind? So were you kind of immersed in the book? Could you picture what was happening? yeah, did you engage? Did you engage in it? So give examples on those. So pause me now, and yeah, good luck. Right, book review question. So up to characters. So pick a character in the novel. So this is your favourite character. I actually think there were some really good characters in The Haven. You might pick Ollie as our main character, whose story we followed. You could pick Nancy, but that might not be able to go into too much depth since she died in about the second chapter. Um, I would probably pick myself Dodge or um, Maddie Sykes. So I generally find the evil ones a bit more interesting. So I'm going to pick Dodge since he was one of my favourites. So let's have a look. So pick a character in the novel. Dodge, were they real? So is it a person who could be a real life person? I think Dodge probably was. He showed, well, he had reasons for what he did. He kind of had a bit of a backstory. He was helpful to Ollie at the start, and then, but he had an ulterior motive. But kind of he sucked me in as kind of being the good guy, and then kind of flipped it at the end. So yes, it could be a real character, a real life person. Did you like them? Why not? Well, I did, because I like that kind of thing where a bit of mystery, and I think it was written really well, his character, that we did as a class pick that he was the one that was doing the Dodge doing the dodgy, but by the way it was written in the things he did throughout. So yes, I liked him, but it was and he also was trying to do what he did for the right reasons as well. Just went the wrong way about it. If you're describing them to a stranger, what words would you use? So you can come up with some words for your character, but yeah. So if you could ask them any questions, what would you ask? Well, I'd probably want more details on why he actually decided to go on Maddie's team and get the money in the first place, and how he thought it would help, and particularly around the bombs, like how he thought Haven people were going to survive when when the chemical weapons were going to go off and wipe out everyone. Why would he think that Haven kids were going to be safe and Aunt Faye was going to be safe on that? Silly. All right, where are we up to? What other people were significant in their lives and why? Well, there were quite a few people in Dodge's lives that were significant. Nancy, Maddie Sykes, Ollie, Lily, Flea, Jack, the whole gang really. So I can write about their connections to each other and what kind of relationships they had and how they supported each other. The Lily connection was a really interesting one because they were boyfriend-girlfriend, but then, he was also going behind her back in working with the enemy as such. Cool. All right. So, pick a character yourself. You can use Dodge if you'd like, or any of the characters in there, because as I say, there's quite a lot of really well written and really good characters in there. So pause me now, and good luck. All right. Theme. So let's have a look. If you had to say what the novel was about in one sentence, how would you describe it? It's fairly straightforward. At what points in the novel was the main issue obvious? So there's quite a few issues in the book about what's happening. So you could kind of pinpoint some of those. So it might be around Maddie Sykes and what she was doing. It might be around Dodge's plan and what he was doing. It might be around why the Haven exists in the first place. Hey, Charlie. It could be kind of any of those things. Yep. Charlie's just having a nap behind me. Could be any of those things. So kind of, I guess, where we have to. So when did they happen? And it kind of goes into, did it make you think about the issue in a new way, or even think about it for the first time? So the issues that these people were having in the book, what were your thoughts around them? Could you make any connections, either text-to-text connections with other texts or movies or books, or even text-to-self or text-to-world? Think about those connections for that and give some examples. All right, good luck. Okay, your next part is language. So this is looking at how it was written, the book itself, and the types of language and things used in there. So did you find this book an easy read? You saw how many fluency and phrasing mistakes I was making myself. It is a fairly tricky book, I think. They as we spoke about this, there was some weird phrasing through the book, but didn't kind of take away from the book, and like some really hard words, but I think it was written well, so you could kind of work out what those words meant, and if not, we could discuss them. So was it an easy read? Probably not. I think it was about at our class level of difficulty. So yeah. Did the novel help you build your vocabulary? Well, yeah, it did. For me, there were some words in there that I didn't know that I had to look up, as you know, and some that wasn't quite so sure about. And we worked through some of those words. So hopefully it did for you, but it's just, you can write what you think. Did the language the writer use? Did the language the writer use suit the characters? Should be use. Suit the characters. As I said in the last one, I think it did. That was pretty well written about the characters and the types. I guess you can look at speech marks and direct speech in that, and the types of language each character used. Was there a difference between them? Could you tell who was talking when, by what kind of they were saying? So, if you use Flea as an example, he was kind of more aggressive and pessimistic about things. So what he was saying was quite different to his sister Lily's, who was more positive about things. So why do you think the author used the language features they did? So there's quite a few different language features in there, so you could pinpoint a couple of those. So it might be kind of the similes and using those references to other things, or it might be kind of the words they used or the weird phrasing that they did use. Like, why do you think the author used those things? And remember to give examples on those. All right, so pause me, and then we'll get on to conclusion. Okay, so finally, conclusion. Would you recommend this book, and why? I would. I enjoyed it. Who would you recommend it to? I would recommend it to, well, anywhere from probably, there was some themes like terrorism and some people dying and things like that, so I wouldn't go too young. I would think probably 10, 11, 12 is kind of lower end, up to, what am I, 36, so that old. Did the language the writer use? Oh no, sorry, well, got on the top. Would you like to read the sequel? Yes, I probably will. The sequel. What's it called? The Haven Revolution. So yeah, I want to kind of see what happens to these characters. I've grown fond of them. I'd like to continue on with that read. Although, as I said, I like the evil characters, so Sykes and Dodge are both dead, but I'm sure they'll find some other issues and problems in the next one. And any other comments? Well, I don't, but you might. So yeah, that's kind of your book review. Go through and answer those questions. Have a good think about it, and yeah, good luck. Thanks.